Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment question comes from Zimwazi. And it's in response to 8 top tips for cloning your MUSE Receptor, a video I did in March 2022. And Zimwazi writes, "What an odd beast. Got a busty one off eBay a while back and finally got around to looking at it and had to replace the RAM and the fans. Give it a clean and clean up all the connectors, and the hard drive sounded like a sack of ball bearings being stirred with a stick." Seagate hard drive. Linux running Wine for the VSTs. If I could have your PayPal, I'll send you a couple of bucks. But I'm a poor musician from Oz, and I've got to be honest and say thank you very much, because I did actually receive a few bucks from a poor musician in Oz. So thank you very much. But it's always interesting to understand where in the world somebody is. So, you know, if you are not located in England, if you're located in somewhere else in the world, it's always nice for you to tell me where you are. It is an odd beast. The MUSE Receptor was kind of filling a place in the market, but many people didn't know they needed. And that's kind of what I found since I've owned them. And I thought the concept was brilliant when I looked at this years and years ago, but could never afford one. Now, I spent a lot of time researching on the internet to find out how things work, including getting hold of software that's no longer available on the net, because MuseResearch.com, which is where a lot of this software was hosted for the utilities for the MUSE Receptor, of course, is long since dead, and all those links to the hosting websites for software, for patches, for all that sort of stuff, long since gone. But I do have pretty much all the patches and all the software modules and all the utilities. It took a long time to find them, but I have actually managed to get them. So it does sound like your version did need a lot of TLC to get it working. What I would say is, if you haven't cloned the hard drive, that would be the first thing I would have done. Because if your hard drive sounds like a sack of ball bearings, it's probably not going to last very much longer. So hopefully you've done that and you've managed to resurrect this weird beast, as you put it, and you're now using it to create your compositions, or maybe gigging live. Because at the end of the day, the MUSE Receptor, you know, what most people forget about the MUSE Receptor is it was really created for live situations. Yes, you could use it in the studio, but you could literally unplug the box, stick it in a portable rack, and that was it. You had everything you had in your studio in a live situation. That's what the beauty of the MUSE Receptor was all about. Many people forget that. Next comment or question comes from George K. And George writes, "Hi, thanks for the videos. My T1 doesn't fire up at all at the moment. I think it's the power board. Around R7 is toast, it's burnt out. I can't find a replacement KLM 1375A board anywhere online. What shall I do next?" That wasn't a sharp intake of breath, wasn't it? It does sound like a power board is fried, but no, maybe not unrepairable. If it looks like you have the components that are burnt out, well, in a way that's probably good, because it gives you a clue about what's going on. My gut feel is the power board capacitors are probably gone, which has probably then induced a burnout of the voltage regulators. And I probably would start by replacing these. They're not expensive. You can get them relatively easy on the sort of component portals. So it might just be a case of replacing a bunch of fried resistors, replacing a bunch of fried capacitors and voltage regulators. And then you might actually find that the whole thing springs back to life. basically I probably would just work my way through the board with a multimeter, looking for continuity, looking for breaks in circuitry, and then you might be able to put it back together. I agree with you. One of the biggest issues with legacy tech now is getting hold of spare parts. There are people that are selling spare parts. There's a couple of places in Europe that seem to have a fairly good inventory. Syntor is always the go-to place, but shipping around the world for Syntor parts can be relatively expensive. You know, you spend $10 at Syntor on a part and it costs you $50 to ship it. You need to sort of be buying more than just a single part from Syntor to make the post and packaging work. But I do understand what Syntor are saying is that they've come to the point where they can't rely on US Postal Service anymore. It's just a complete shambles. So they've had to go to a courier company, and that of course pumps the price up. So anyway, hopefully that's give you some pointers when you hit this situation, which is it might not be completely toast, and you know, some isopropyl alcohol will clean the board up, and then you can inspect the tracks. Use something like this thing over here, which is a lighted up magnifying glass, to get in really close to have a look and see what's going on.